Today we're going to be hiking Tent Ridge Horseshoe in Kananaskis, Alberta in Canada, and I want to give a quick disclaimer here. You'll see in the video, I did not do really any research, only a small amount before doing this hike, and there was at least one, perhaps two, because I don't know if I exactly went the right way or not close to the summit, but there's definitely one unavoidable part on this hike where there is risk in terms of if you make the wrong move, you'll fall down and you'll probably even fall to your death just based on the fact that you're like on the side of a mountain. Now, when you look this up online, this isn't really mentioned that much. But I wanted to bring this up because I personally am a novice hiker, and this was a surprise to me. So I want to make that clear that if you do this hike, there is one part where there definitely is a level of risk. So with that said, let's get into the hike. Okay, so this is the start of the hike. I've actually already completed it. I'm just going to show you this so there's no confusion. This is the start of the clockwise route. It is the more southern entrance. This is a horseshoe trail, and you can see the parking lot starts here. So the road in is this road here. As you're coming in, cars start to park, and you see them lined up here. The first entrance to the trail, or the clockwise route, or the south route, is here, and the counterclockwise route is more to the north, and it's that way probably maybe 400 meters. So just so you know, the recommended way from what I've heard from most people, or at least the way that's conventionally seen as easier, is that way, the southern route, the clockwise route, or the route that starts at the south. And one other comment before we start, I recommend downloading this trail onto your phone. Here's the first few steps of the Tent Ridge Trail. So far, just a somewhat winding trail up into the forest. So we've got up a little bit higher. So far it's pretty fun. It's very, at least compared to the hikes I've done, it's pretty narrow. And so you're just kind of walking up through basically a trail like this. Pretty fun, but so far, about 10 minutes in, it's going pretty good. We're just basically walking up into the forest, as I said, on a relatively narrow trail. And then here I'd say is the first decent view, but we still have a lot more way to go, a lot higher to get, and I'm gonna make the safe assumption the views are only gonna get better, so we'll check in that. Okay, so now as I walk deeper into the forest, the path has, just for the first time, it's mostly flat now. There's still a slight incline, but for the most part, the path about maybe 25 minutes into the hike has gotten a lot flatter, and you can still see there's tons of tree roots. So as we continue on, mostly deeper into the forest, you see we got a spot here. We gotta go underneath a tree that fell over, and then over another tree that fell. So it's like a little parkour course in here. But as I said, yeah, this trail, there's really not, I just passed two people again, but for the most part, it feels mostly like you're by yourself. I'm actually carrying my bear spray and my air horn in my hand just to be safe. But because I did see one bear actually on the way here, not on the trail, but about 10 minutes prior on the ride here. So gotta remain somewhat for sure aware of that. And so this trail is not really marked that much. So this is kind of the second spot where it's not exactly clear which way to go. So I'd recommend downloading the trail before you come out here. So as we carry on here, it's starting to get a little bit more uphill, but I gotta be honest, the first 35 maybe minutes of this hike have been basically the exact same experience in terms of narrow, walking over lots of roots, and dealing with occasional fallen trees like this one here. My ears actually just popped. That's never happened on a hike before. I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you could not care less, but that happened. So it kind of opens up here a bit, and I can see, I don't know if we're gonna walk that way, but we'll see. So it opens up again here, and now this is probably the first part of the hike I can say is quite beautiful. Walking over a little creek here. Some logs to walk over. Shout out to the beavers, even though I'm sure they probably didn't do this, but Might not have been the best idea to do on camera, but for YouTube, there you go. I'm gonna just, in my imagination, assume that the beavers did that. Yeah, so if you do this hike, I would recommend the first 30 minutes, you might be like, this is not the best hike I've ever done, but it certainly opens up after that. And yeah, this hike, the last 10 minutes or so of it have been quite nice. Very nice views, opens up. Again, ton of flowers. Maybe not right here, but still, there are a ton of flowers in this hike. So this hike's not an out and back, so I'll try to get some of the views from behind, but look at this view from just turning around. Very nice. Yeah, my friend recommended this hike, and the first 30 minutes of this, I was thinking, I'm like, you recommended this? But I can see why. These spots on hikes are so cool. There's this big flat, big piece of grass in the middle of a bunch of mountains. You could almost have a soccer game right here, and just surrounded by a bunch of mountains. So after I almost didn't even realize I started running, but now we have walked back into the forest. So we'll see where we're headed now. So now we're back to very uphill. You probably hear I'm out of breath. I tried to get a little running in, and just so happened I chose the like straight uphill part. There's some butterflies up here. I'll try to get some in the video here. Where did they go? Yeah. I'm trying to get these butterflies on camera. I know, it's like chasing a... All right, so right after the butterflies, about maybe 10 minutes up that, I mean more like 5 up that last path, kind of into the forest. Then you see some great views up here. You see going to the other side here. Now I can see why my friend recommended this hike. Very nice. And then see what we have to go up. Pretty uphill. That's by far the most steep of an uphill I've ever attempted. I'm sure it'll be fine, but that is quite uphill. Yeah, as we head up this part again, this is, for me, steep. I didn't grow up around mountains, but this whole, look at that view. Wow. But this is quite the trek here. It's obviously not that steep like I'm filming, but it is definitely steep. So if you do this hike, be aware that this section is quite uphill. Maybe you'd like to bring poles or something if that's how you like to do it. See, it still continues on for a little ways here, pretty steep, but it's definitely worth it every time you turn around. So I've got to say, the only other hike I've ever done, like again, as I said, I'm a noob to hiking. The only other hike I've done with a view is Big Beehive and Little Beehive at Banff, which are very nice, but in terms of view, this is better, I would say. More unobstructed views. And I'm not even at the top yet, but this is quite amazing. A ton of mountain peaks, some water over there, a lake. I don't even know what lake that is. I'll put that in the video once I edit. I'll figure out what that is. But this is pretty great. And see, it's great. Look, there's still quite a bit of ways to go. So yeah, if you're gonna do this hike, I mean, be prepared for this pretty challenging part, actually. Still some ways to go. I've gotten a little bit higher. Amazing views still, obviously. But I think we're pretty close to the top. But maybe not. We will see. So it's not really even like hiking. It's almost like just straight climbing at this point. So we're close to the top, but this is not really hiking anymore. It's almost become like, not even almost, it is right now. It's like rock climbing. Because look at this next part here. This is just height. I don't even know if I'm gonna climb this. Okay, I got done that part. That was by far the hardest part. Hardest part I've actually ever done on a hike. So if you do this, be aware that you gotta be pretty athletic to get that part done. And you're just straight, you're basically rock climbing at that point, because one, like, you gotta be sure of your footing, and you're essentially on the side of a cliff. It's not as hard as it looks, but still want to give a disclaimer that it was hard. Right, so got a little bit higher up yet. Some more great views. Someone else beside me trying to film as well. There's even a dog up here. Shout out to the dog. And we're not done though. We're still continuing up here, and there still is some more hike definitely to go. Those people are pretty good at climbing. Still some walking up here. Let's see what happens. Made up a little bit further on the kind of the side now of this ridge. So with this, I came up that way. Now there are some people that kind of came up over there, so you're sort of climbing the side of the mountain at this point. There are definitely multiple ways to get up. So now I'm right here. I think we're pretty close to the top, I would say. But that was definitely another challenging part. So definitely, for sure, to this moment, there's been two, at least for me, who's a novice hiker, I would say the two most challenging spots I've ever done on a hike. Still going up the ridge, mostly just a walk on some rocks now. Continuing on here towards the top of this ridge, basically just walking on a bunch of rocks. Still heading up these rocks. You can see some people over there in the distance walking. Opening up more here. Some new peaks to look at. Looks like there's like some sort of tower up there. Some cell phone tower. I'm gonna check my farm bill. See, the views on this hike are quite amazing, and it's not an out and back, it's a horseshoe, right? So probably good every once in a while to just turn around. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to be heading back. I think on the way back the views will probably be similar, but we will see. So I just got word from a couple passing hikers it's supposed to rain here in a couple hours. Now we'll see if that happens. It'll definitely add to the adventure of this hike. It is starting to feel like it's about to rain, but we will see. Again, look at that cloud right up above. Looks like something. So we made it to the top now of this peak. We'll do a little 360 around here and see what's up. I just cracked my toe on a rock, but we're in a safe area now to film for sure. So see some other peaks over here. Quite a bit of snow still up there. It's August, so perhaps that snow, or maybe those are just glaciers, doesn't melt. I mean, I said this in the last video, I don't know anything about geography. Then we'll head over here, see some more peaks. Some type of tower here. And then yeah, that is the way we're gonna go. That ridge we saw from back there, that looks like the way we're headed. Up there looks pretty straightforward, but we will see. I heard from that guy back there that part that I was commenting on that looked challenging, that he said at least that was the hardest part, so we'll see if that is true. I'm sure it is. We will see. But yeah, the view up here is unbelievable. There's like 100 mountain peaks. This is crazy. Total unobstructed views. Okay, so now we're starting after a little water break. It's actually a little cool up here. But it smells nice fresh mountain air, but now we're starting on this downslope into this ridge here. We'll check in a little bit. So far on this downslope of this ridge, there's just been these little miniature switchbacks down and back, some loose gravel, some loose rocks. Not the steepest though, doesn't feel as steep as it was on the way up, but still relatively challenging. So finish down those switchbacks, see we just came down there, and now we're heading pretty chill here. This is, to be honest, this is more what I like to do when hiking, just like some elevation, even some rocks, some twigs is fine. I'm not much for an actual sort of, I believe the term is scramble, but pretty challenging. I mean, that's really not my favorite type of stuff. It's fun. It's a fun challenge, but it's not really my cup of tea. I'd say I like more of a grueling sort of uphill hike through a trail. But what I'm saying is this right now is more my speed. Just you can do a little bit of running, a little bit of downhill. Got to watch your footing, but it makes for a fun sort of walk/jog, and then also some amazing views. And so now, after that downhill, we are now back heading uphill, up the side of a different ridge. Now that's where we just came from. Went up there, that's the top. And now, after some downhill, we're heading back up a different ridge, but it looks like a different experience. Basically just, so far, an uphill trail. So this ridge is more my speed. It's basically like a challenging uphill walk. No climbing yet. It looks like it gets pretty steep up there again. We'll check in up there. So far, just a couple little narrow switchbacks like this, but it is getting a lot steeper. But no climbing yet. Still no climbing, but it's definitely steep. Different view from this side now. You can see there's another small lake down there. You can almost consider now where I am a scramble. There's still no climbing for me anyway. Like, I mean, you can use your hands a little bit, but there's not really a trail. It's just kind of walking up some rocks. Let's see over there, we see some people walking again on that ridge. So it looks like we're headed there. Not quite the top yet here. I gotta mention though, in terms of like a climb, this part is easy. Like, there's no rock climbing. Like, you're never grabbing onto rocks with your hands too much, but not at all really, but unless maybe you just want to kind of bear crawl. But it's challenging. Like, I'm out of breath. In terms of just like a leg burn, this side so far is certainly a leg burn. All right, so we made up that ridge. Some more great views up here from a different angle. So you can see this side now, look at that. Very nice view in there. Some more mountains. That ridge, I would say, best word to describe that would be a workout. That was a leg burn. I did a little bear crawl at the end, although I really didn't need to. It was mostly just because I was tired, but that was a leg burn, that last 10 minutes of that ridge. All right, so we are now continuing on. Unbelievable view up here, wow. So now we're continuing on this ridge here. And we will see where this heads. It looks like we're heading downhill for a little bit. So some hikers there were kind of talking back and forth about the correct direction, like rotation to do this hike, to do clockwise or counterclockwise. I, to be honest, don't even know the way I did it. I know I did the most common way, and I'll clarify that before I post this video. We did clockwise? Okay, do clockwise. Let's see this patch of green down there. That's where we came from. We went up there, and then over there, to that peak there, and now we are heading back in that direction. And so as we trek down this ridge, pretty challenging. I mean, I gotta say the entire hike is challenging, especially for me. Like, I am certainly a novice hiker. This is a challenge. Like, there's some rocks. You gotta be, I would say, somewhat athletic to just know where to put your feet. This definitely is not as hard as the part back there where you kind of gotta rock climb, but still, this entire hike actually has been a challenge. Continuing on here, still walking on this loose gravel, at least somewhat challenging. Did a little detour here. The path is actually down that way, but not too bad at all. So through here, it's basically just walking onto one rock at a time. There's not really a path here, just straight rocks. Some big, some small. A lot of traversing over loose rocks. At least most of them aren't loose, but some of them are, so you gotta be definitely careful. It's a pretty cool view here. There's like some ridges that change color there in the distance. And for the first time in a while, we were back on actual trail. As we continue on here, on this ridge, hike's getting a little bit easier, less rocks. I actually cut my hand with a rock, just using my hand for like balance. I don't even know where I cut it. Like, it was almost nothing, but apparently I grabbed a somewhat sharp rock, but it's nothing at all. Like, it's stopped bleeding in like 2 seconds, but I didn't even realize that happened. So again, very novice hiker. Next time I will bring a few band-aids with me. Another amazing view through there. Now we're back to some uphill. Oh, look, some bumblebees here. Some type of flowers. Continuing on here, just about at the top of this ridge now. All right, the path is mostly chill right now, but I would say that section was the whole thing. I've mentioned it multiple times. If you're a novice hiker, this is a challenging hike, certainly in my opinion, but this is quite the view here. It just kind of keeps going, and you can see the ridge continues to change color. It looks quite nice. I mean, let's go. This is very, very beautiful up here. This is quite the hike. Now we're on more of my speed, just some moderately challenging trails, just more my speed. You can get a little bit of a run in up here even. You see there's actually somewhat of a trail, and I mean, could you ask for a better backdrop on a hike / jog when you can? Unbelievable. What is this, a sand dune? What is this? Now the color has drastically changed here to a sandy brown. Shout out to Sandy, my first dog. Very, very beautiful color here. And now see the angle of where we were down there. That was where the trail first opened up. And then, yeah, this is quite the adventure. Okay, I want to make the comment now that this is the picture I think I saw of this hike. Very reasonable trail. Just a trail on top of a ridge. This is probably the exact picture I saw, and I mean, I didn't do any research beyond this, so it's fine. Like, I'm not complaining, but this is what I saw. This is what I thought was going to happen. And yeah, as you've seen, the hike has been anything but this for the most part, so we will enjoy the pretty chill mountaintop here with some amazing views. And again, the trail here is an actual trail. We're still carrying on here. Another butterfly here. butterfly. Yellow one this time. Wow, look at that. A little pit stop here. This lake, I've been informed, is called Spray Lake. And that's the way we're headed now. So the last maybe 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes even, have been like pretty chill on this gravel path up on the top of this ridge. Pretty amazing, actually. See, that's what I've been walking on. More of a view of this lake. This lake is very big. I was told it goes almost to Canmore, which is a popular mountain town pretty close to where we are here. There's that easy strip. It seems to have ended because now we're headed down a pretty steep mountain. So as we're approaching the tree line, as they say, I believe in hiking lingo, at least according to maybe 12 TikToks I watched on the subject, that last little part that I did was, for me, very steep. So be aware, this ridge here, steep and challenging. Certainly challenging for me. I think most people really, because most people are going quite slow. Okay, so we're at the end of this ridge anyway. So that's where we just came down. Now we're changing direction. At the end of this ridge here. Pretty cool view there. That lake, I've already forgotten the name. And see, now there's the hashtag tree line, hashtag hiker lingo. We're heading down that direction. And so again, as we change directions there down this mountain, it didn't get any easier, actually. It was hard, and there was only one path too, so you couldn't really control in terms of like going side to side. It was just straight down and difficult. So, but we are almost on to what looks like from here the easy part, and then I believe it'll be pretty chill the rest of the way because there really isn't a whole lot of more to descend. But I mean, we will see, unless I'm missing something. We're done with that challenging part. We're now just on reasonable descent. Looks like we're getting closer to the bottom, although I would bet we have a decent ways yet to go. We've come down a long way, but it certainly doesn't feel like we're necessarily that close to finishing. So here's the view as we're getting back into the trees just about. Still pretty challenging. It's getting easier, but I just felt a raindrop, so update on the rain. It is now at least one raindrop to it raining. So update of where we are, an update of what we just walked down. First time I was past today and I was like sprinted by. That guy was flying. That guy's in tremendous shape because I'm not even out of breath right now. My legs are on fire. This is like doing 1,000 air squats. It's certainly a fun challenge, but it is very, very difficult. It's a bit of an interesting section through here. Has some flowers, some very beautiful trees to look at, and a fun challenge, some fun downhill, back and forth sort of action. Look at how narrow it is here. What is this, a hike for ants? It's still quite downhill. Didn't really get, I mean, it's gotten easier, but not that much easier. Oh, look, a squirrel. Another challenging downhill here about to happen. Okay, now no more downhill for the time being anyway. We're back to this. We're back to pretty narrow trail and dirt trail and some roots and pretty deep in the forest. Although I can start to see actually the end, or at least an opening, but we'll check in. It could be close, and maybe we're a little further than I expect. All right, we are Continuing on. All right, update here. Seemingly on cue, that last hiker, if you remember, said to me that it's supposed to rain at 1:30. It's 1:32 and it's just spitting a little bit, although I suspect it's obviously raining somewhere else because I just heard a pretty loud thunder somewhere, sounding actually like back where we were, although who knows how close exactly. But that's the update right now. Walking down this path, pretty enjoyable. And yeah, we're just continuing on here. This has been about the scene for about 20 minutes. Just narrow-ish path, not too downhill though. Pretty chill actually. Just this walk through the forest. All right, we're starting to see more of an opening here. Yeah, I am in full transparency. The legs are getting a little tired, Nothing urgent for sure, but wouldn't be that disappointed if this hike was over pretty soon. However, I'm still definitely not at the point where it's a struggle. So we made it to the end. You see, this is where everybody parks. There's a little bit more parking actually down there as well. And then this is the way that you would come if you were to do the hike the opposite direction. So like, I believe it's counterclockwise. I'll double check that in the video or in the, just put a message on the screen, but now you go this way here. If you made it this far in the video, thank you very much for watching. I'm gonna update now my hike rankings. You can see I only have 3 so far. I'm gonna give Tent Ridge a 6.1, and this is really based on the fact I'm not sure I would actually repeat this hike. Whereas Big Beehive and Little Beehive, I definitely would repeat those. I'm not sure Tent Ridge is really my cup of tea. And I mean, as I'm doing this list, this is just a learning experience for me because I don't really know exactly what I like and what I dislike. But based on the fact that I think part of Tent Ridge was a little bit too risky and a little bit too technical for what I'm interested in, I'm going to give it a 6.1. The views, though, are amazing. If this list was just views, I'd give it like a 9 out of 10. The views were immaculate, but Tent Ridge 6.1. And with that said, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.